You're not broken. You're just trying to drive today with yesterday's storm smeared across your windshield. Look, most people, they slam the gas. They call it motivation. But pros, they wipe the glass first. If you feel that low hum of doubt, that background static that you've learned to ignore but is always there, it's not your identity. That's old weather. In 5 minutes, you can start to reset the loop, kill that rumination, and actually see your next move clearly. I'll show you the exact reset I've used and the one that shuts the loop down. Here's the thing. You don't need a perfect plan or a major mood swing. You need a clear pane of glass. All right? Stay tuned, because once this clicks, you'll stop asking for certainty about everything and you'll start taking action. All right? So let's get right into the moment that I realized my glass wasn't cracked. It was just dirty. So when I studied with David Key, a renowned NLP expert, I learned that most people don't realize their brain isn't broken, right? They think that they have something wrong. Their brains, they're just full of old files that we keep opening in certain situations. So look, I learned this and a ton more studying with David Key, but what I've really learned about this is these things, not only within myself, but within others, these old files that keep clicking open at certain moments. But it certainly wasn't always this way, right? I hit rock bottom, had rough spots that I didn't think I would make it out of. I was in Thailand, for example, and everything started falling apart for the second time. COVID was hitting. Nobody really knew what was going on, but that had a major impact. My business failing through all that. I had to leave my girlfriend because the borders were closing up around me and I had to get out. Little did I know I wouldn't be back, at least to this point. 4 years this was 4 years after the breakup that caused me to hit rock bottom in Hawaii. So just when I thought my life was going my way, I was spiraling once again. And there really didn't seem to be a damn thing I could do about it. It was just all this outside stuff. And on top of it, my head kept playing this one single file on repeat, telling me I was a complete failure, completely alone. They started popping up like they had never been closed. They were just running in the background. They were bringing back the Hawaii heartbreak and a crushing breakup from years before, along with missed business opportunities that I swore I was over. My shoulders were stuck up to my ears, right? My jaw was clenched. My breath, it just felt trapped in my chest all the time. I just kept replaying that same old reel and calling it thinking. And the cost I didn't see back then was that I passed on pitches I could have nailed, and I let important calls go straight to voicemail because I didn't have it in me to answer them. Just answering the phone, just sending an email at times felt impossible. I watched real chances slide by me. A killer job opportunity in Chicago that I regretted passing by for years. Free cruise with a beautiful and amazing woman that I met on vacations happened a while ago, but it was a tab that kept popping up, right? Why? Because my mind flagged every new opportunity right now as a danger. And while I thought the events were the problem, the events themselves and what was happening in real time, I was missing the biggest point. The real garbage was not the events themselves. It was the meaning I decided to make permanent from years ago, right? I stamped a message on my brain saying, hey, this proves I'm not the person who wins. And I treated it, that thought alone was the law, right? And once you keep those old files open, your brain filter starts tagging anything new that looks even slightly similar as a massive threat. A massive light goes on in your brain. You know, when a warm lead shows up, it feels like that old Hawaii pain. Or when a new date feels like a breakup from years ago. Or a new business opportunity, it feels like the business I had lost during COVID, for example. That assistant inside your head is just handing you yesterday's memos and asking you to sign them again, which is why anyone I know that's going through, friends, colleagues, family, clients, always tell me that's just how I am, right? Look, I'm telling you this as a friend, all right? It is not who you are. It's just static. And we need to figure out what to do when that assistant won't stop handing you those old memos. So you ready? Let's do this. All right, so your reticular activating system, it's a mouthful, I know. You might hear me call it RAS or RAS, is your brain's filter, all right? So picture a loyal but confused executive assistant sitting outside your office. Its job is to scan a fire hose of inputs, tons of stuff input all the time, right? And hand you only what matters. It doesn't judge at all, right? It obeys the last clear memo. If your memo says watch for failure like Thailand and Hawaii, even if you don't know it, like subconsciously, right? Guess what shows up on your desk? Dusty failure memos, front and center all day long, especially when you're going through some shit. All right. And that's why you feel stuck. That's why you get in this loop that you can't break out of. You're trying to run today's work with 50 old tabs open and a heavy render in the background. Your assistant thinks it's helping you by flagging anything that looks like past pain. New client, warning. New relationship, caution. New business opportunity, uh-oh, right? It's not malice. It's simply mislabeling, right? So here's the shortcut nobody really tells you. Again, you aren't broken. Your labels are. The assistant listens to clear, direct language. When you point at a thought and say, that's old weather, like literally say it out loud, right? You're not being cute. You're updating the memo. You're telling the system, archive this. It's not current. The reason it works is simple, all right? Your nervous system responds to threat labeling. When you mark a loop as memory, not reality, the alarms start to quiet. And look, this stuff has been with you for a little bit, so you're going to have to do it more than once, right? And when the alarm's quiet, the prefrontal part of your brain that plans the next steps starts to come back online. No long therapy lecture, no overthinking, a clean label, a calm breath, and the assistant stops handing you yesterday's news while you're trying to make today's call. Now we can jump into how to reset it in 5 minutes and have a visual for you, as always. These 5 minutes, they're powerful, and they get you the start you absolutely need to get down that path. And this is powerful. We're closing tabs and updating the memo. Look, a few weeks ago, a client and friend labeled a very impactful 5-year-old rejection as old weather with shaky hands, then sent a pitch email that they'd been avoiding for weeks. 10 minutes later. Was it perfect? Nope. Did it ship? Was it action? Yeah, it was. And shipping is where your confidence lives. Action is where your confidence lives. So here's what you do, all right? You set a timer for 5 minutes. You grab a pen, an actual piece of paper. We move fast here so you can reset and get moving with your day. You may have to do this a couple of times in a day, and that's okay. And I have some breathing techniques too that I want to talk about. All right, so here's a handy dandy visual. I'll share this, and I'll also have something else you can download that has this in more detail for you that you can actually maybe print out if you would like. We already set the timer, all right? So step one, though, after setting the timer is really the audit. So it's 2 minutes, one-liners only, no backstory, right? No essays about anything. You're naming files, you're not explaining them, right? So you write something down, Hawaii heartbreak, things that are on your mind, right? Hawaii heartbreak, Thailand collapse, 2018 breakup, missed deal with Ryan, the phone call I dodged that turned out to be a big deal. Keep the pen moving, all right? Don't overthink here. If a line gets long, slash it in half. At the top of the page, write, that's old weather. Now, take each line, memory or current, and be honest. If you can't touch it or change it in 24 hours, it's a memory. Circle the ones that visit your head every week, that visit your head when you get stuck in a loop, that that are on your mind right now, that give you anxiety. Circle those, all right? That's your active loop list. So quick check right now, because I know if you're anything like me, how's your jaw? Unclench it. When I went through this, my jaw would clench for sure. Let your shoulders drop an inch. Let your body mind and relax a little. Do like shoulder rolls. Just kind of get out of that. All right, now step 2, the command. 2 minutes. We're going line by line on the circled ones, all right? Look at it. Read it out loud, and then out loud say, that's old weather, memory, not reality. Assistant, archive this. Sounds cheesy, just trust me here. Say it like you're talking to an actual person, like I'm talking to you right now, right? Who takes notes. Breathe low. In through the nose for 4, out through the mouth for 6, all right? In for 4, out for 6. Do that a couple of times. It calms your nervous system, all right? Now, don't argue with the thought as you go through this list. Don't build a case. Don't let your mind start to run around it. All right? Not debate class. You're labeling a file and you're moving on. If your brain throws a yeah but out there, and it will, hit it with the same line. Old weather. Keep breathing. Keep going. Okay? 30 seconds in, one of them will soften. Hey, it's not going to vanish, right? It's going to take a little time, but it will soften. And that softening is the loop losing fuel. All right, that's important because the alarm stopped sounding off. All right, all you need is that 10 to 20% right now. That helps. And that keeps on growing. Here's the thing that, again, everyone seems to miss. Your body has to get off the memo too. It's not just your brain. Your body reacts to that thought every time. So while you speak, scan from forehead to toes, right? Anywhere tight? A lot of times it's tight in my chest or gut. If anything's tight, soften it by 2%. Think through it, all right? Almost silly changes, they all help, especially overall. And that signals threat resolved faster than thinking does. The reason it works is because threat labeling plus breath plus softening equals a downshift, right? Your assistant hears archive and stops tossing on your desk. All right, step 3, the windshield wipe. 1 minute, sit up tall, pick a real object in the room. And this works even if you're in an office and stressed out and you just have a minute or two before the next call, all right? So always remember this. Look around, point at something, right? I don't know what I have in here. A plant right here, plant, okay? Anything, a mug, whatever it is, the corner of your laptop. Name 5 things you can see out loud. Colors, edges, light, whatever it is, okay? Objects. It locks your attention into the present and stops running from ask, what's one useful move that I can do in the next 10 minutes? Not a plan, not a vision board, one move, all right? Make the decision and then actually attend that social event you've been avoiding as a way to meet new people. Be social and get back into society because you've been avoiding it. Hit publish on that first blog post that you poured your heart into, but you're scared to let out there. Scared of the overrated thought like, what will other people think? Hit send on that email with your resume and the reasons you should get that promotion. All right? These are small items. They don't take long, but I know they feel heavy, right? Don't worry about that. That feeling you're getting, that's anxiety. It's you stepping out of your comfort zone and not letting those old tabs stay open and run your life, all right? Controlling your every move, your every thought. Don't stack goals. Do not open another tab. Close the ritual with assistant, prioritize the now. Old weather can pass. Then do that move immediately. Action is the save button for this entire reset. That's important. I'm going to say that again. Action is the save button for this entire reset. All right, let's talk a couple guardrails. Don't chase permanent clarity, not the goal here. You're aiming for a clear next step, not a clean file. If a file reopens later, fine. Say the line once, breathe, and move on. If you hit a wall, shrink the move again until it's frictionless. So let's talk about what you'll notice and what changes in these 5 minutes. So what you'll notice fast is the static drops just a notch. Your breathe, it lengthens without trying. Because when we're in panic, we have short breaths, right? That's why we do long breathing exercises and such. Your shoulders, they come down a little bit. Your face is softened. It's not fireworks, right? It's like the room got 10 to 20% quieter and your voice got that much louder. That grinding loop, it slows because you stopped hunting for certainty. That quiet, one next move shows up. You feel it as, oh, I can do that right now. And the real shift, rumination stops. Not forever, but right now. Same thought stops echoing because it's filed as past and not present. And when the loop stops chewing your bandwidth, your focus can return. Clear enough to act beats perfect every time. So let's talk about the implementation and the payoff here. So run this once today, then again tomorrow morning. And hey, if you're feeling anxiety, if you're feeling tight again later in the day, run it again. It's just 5 minutes, all right? I'm not asking you to run it every hour. Run it once per day and run it if you're really feeling like you have to. 2 reps back to back, it gives your assistant proof, all right? So at least once per day, right? That's old weather on a sticky note. Put it on your laptop. I always do that stuff. Stick it where you can't miss it. Bathroom mirror, laptop edge. Now, when that old file pings, don't analyze, label it. Breathe, archive. Then ask for a 10-minute move and do it. If you need a push, post one closed file on an action you took. After 2 sessions, you'll have lived evidence that you can end a loop without solving your past, without a year of therapy. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that too, helping you today. That evidence is the anchor. Practice builds the muscle. The muscle builds momentum, and momentum makes the fog thin on cue. So here's what I just want you to remember today, everything. You are not broken. Your brain is not broken. You've been driving through old weather. All you need is 5 minutes to clean your windshield. That's it. Then you're actually seeing the road ahead, not yesterday's storm, not tomorrow's worry and anxiety. This moment, here, now, clear. And from that clarity, everything changes.